Before the release of the planned 2022 prequel film Prey, I wanted to analyze the on-screen Predator canon. Predator is a science fiction, action anthology media franchise centered on the film series depicting humankind's encounters with a race of extraterrestrial trophy-seeking aliens known as the Predator. Produced and distributed by 20th Century Fox, the series began with Predator 1987, directed by John McTiernan. It was followed by 3 sequels, Predator 2 in 1990, Predators in 2010, and The Predator in 2018. The series has led to numerous novels, comics, and video games, such as Predator Concrete Jungle in 2005 and Predator Hunting Grounds in 2020, both of which received generally mixed reviews. The Alien vs. Predator franchise combines the continuities of the Alien franchise with the Predator franchise and consists of 2 films as well as varying series of comics, books, and video games. The first film, in 1987, received rave reviews, but the sequels have been decidedly poor by comparison. This channel doesn't do film reviews or story critiques. There are other channels on YouTube for that. Canon Fodder does prescriptive analysis to map the causal trajectory of a movie or franchise and then provide the findings to you, the viewer. With that being said, welcome to the Canon Fodder prescriptive analysis for Predator. What is obvious from my analysis is that essential connective tissue is absent from the subsequent films. Predator 1987 ended with the monster defeated and 2 remaining human survivors. Logically, for the story to be a continuation, we need a character or characters to follow. The Dutch and Anna characters did not continue their stories in Predator 2, making the second movie almost a remake. Instead, we now have new protagonists, a new Predator, and a new setting, but the same basic story. The Predator is killed at the end of the second movie, and the Harrigan character, played by Danny Glover, doesn't appear in any further sequels. That's one of the biggest problems with the franchise, that the same story has been told 6 times, first in a jungle, then the city, then in the Arctic, or Antarctic, then in the suburbs, then the jungle again, and lastly in the suburbs again. For Aliens from Space, we never have the setting in space. Now, based on the causal trajectory of the 6 movies being dissected here today, I can say that space as the next setting doesn't make logical sense. I only mentioned it to draw attention to the creative void that keeps remaking the same movie but expecting better critical reviews or box office results. What's that saying about insanity? Predator 2 did add something of value to the canon, and although it was included just as a callback, it suggests a very important idea that was never followed up. When Harrigan lifts the face mask of the temporarily unconscious Predator, he says, "You are one ugly..."
You are one ugly mother.
And the Pred finishes his sentence.
Motherfucker!
This is a great hook. It suggests that the events of the first movie are known to at least this Predator, and perhaps others. If we only had Predator 1987, then the sequel is a no-brainer. It would be a revenge story. Call it Son of the Predator or Revenge of the Predator. The movie practically writes itself. The new Predator comes to Earth to hunt down Dutch and possibly Anna. While this story could still play today, so much more has been added to the on-screen canon that a more all-encompassing path emerges. We have been shown, up to 2018, that Yautja incursions are happening more frequently. More Preds are sent to the Earth, and every one has been killed. Narratively, Predators does make sense. The Preds may surmise that humans have become more lethal prey than historically expected. The second movie shows us that the Predator had a difficult time breathing when his helmet was removed, and that he had to use a handheld respirator. In Predators, we are introduced to the super predator, a larger species of Yautja. These super predators abduct dangerous humans and decide to hunt them on an alien world. Arguably, this was done to test them on a world that might be similar to the Yautja home world. The super pred's motives are unknown, but perhaps Earth's atmosphere is becoming too toxic for the preds to hunt at optimal performance. Or they could be planning to relocate their prey to a planetary game reserve. Who knows? The last movie had the Preds drop off an armored combat suit for the humans to use. This tells us that there are factions in Yautja society and that perhaps a larger conflict is on the horizon. Avp Requiem had a veteran Pred named Wolf come to the Earth to clean up the evidence of a crashed ship, some escaped xenomorphs, and the remains of the dead predators. The military of the United States has records of these incursions and some of the recovered predator technology. Based on the evidence, if we track the reactions of the characters involved and assume that they will respond in the most logical manner to these threats, then the next sequel should look something like this.
A fucking alien.
For starters, we need some returning characters, preferably Arnold as Dutch, obviously. But Shane Black tried and failed already, so I don't care if it's Olivia Munn or the guy from Logan or even Danny Glover. We need some connective tissue, and please for the love of God, not Jake Busey. The setting could be a test facility at the bottom of a lake or the ocean. We have seen water disrupt Pred technology, especially their camouflage, so logic would dictate that a base underwater would remove that advantage. Since the 2018 movie already told us that the Preds are doing gene and DNA manipulation, then my conjecture is that the Preds would use a biological morphology in place of the previous light-bending technology. Anna even set this up in the first movie when she said it changes colors like the chameleon. The Pred of the next installment should be less like a hunter and more like an infiltrator, looking human on the surface, but being a predator underneath. That sounds familiar. Passing through security in plain view of everyone, the spy will investigate the facility, trying to learn about the new secret weapon being developed. Perhaps the spy would initiate a power failure or a system shutdown to access classified areas, killing, skinning, and taking trophies along the way. The maze of now dark, underwater tunnels and rooms slowly begin filling with water, creating tension and claustrophobia. The spy eviscerates the last few soldiers guarding the vault. Then, after successfully manipulating the controls, the vault door opens, and inside... Well, that's just idle speculation, and we don't do fan fiction here on Canon Fodder. What the movies have shown us up to this point has all the makings of a Cold War. Now for some recommendations. To this point, there are two things that we haven't seen on screen that are long overdue. Number one, the main predator as the last one standing, and number two, a female of the species. The sequels have given us bigger monsters, but not smarter monsters, or smarter storytelling for that matter. Another suggestion I have is stop making friendly predators. Predator 2 had Harrigan kill the main Pred on his own mothership, and the Pred crew just gave him a souvenir and let him go. How chilling would it have been if the movie had ended with the crew appearing right after the kill, and then we see the mothership fly away? Did they kill Harrigan? Is he still alive? I mean, what a cliffhanger for a third movie. Man, I should start writing movies. AVP had the lead lady pair up with a Pred to battle the xenomorphs and their queen, and after all was said and done, and the main Pred was dead, the captain of the ship, I guess, gave her a spear, and then they flew away. Adrian Brody teamed up with an OG Pred to fight against the Super Preds. Sure, enemy of my enemy and all that, but at this point, we should be afraid when the predator bares its mandibles, but it's almost becoming commonplace now. In The Predator, as mentioned before, the humans got gifts from the Preds again. For a species that loves to hunt and kill humans, they sure send mixed messages. Maybe they send meat-filled gift baskets to the xenomorph queen after every hunt. While I love me some Predator action, I don't see what a prequel will meaningfully add to the overall direction of the franchise. At best, it will tell the same story, but with an even lower level of technology and more isolation to try engineer tension and present the heroes as vulnerable. At worst, it will retcon something that will be problematic for the rest of the media in the franchise. I have no issue with the casting of a woman as the main hero, unless they are intentional undertones or overtones of striking back against the predatriarchy. In conclusion, based on what we have been shown, if all the characters were to respond as though these events are happening in a rational universe that adheres to logical cause and effect, then a continuation of the Predator canon will resemble the findings as stated in this video. Until next time.